Let's talk about recording acoustic guitars. A lot of people struggle with getting great acoustic guitar tones, but you know what? I'm here to help. If you don't know where you should put the microphone, if you don't know what actually happens if you move the mic from here to there or to there, I'm pretty sure by the end of this video, you will be a lot smarter. Today, I want to introduce you to all the different mic positions we have. Today, I want to talk about everything I think is important to get great sounding acoustic guitar tones like this one. And obviously, there's not only one good sounding microphone position. It depends on your taste, it depends on what you want to achieve, and of course it's a matter of context. In the example we just heard, a ballad, the acoustic guitar is the main instrument and it's supposed to sound as big and beautiful as possible. But there are other arrangements where the acoustic guitar might only be a percussive shimmer in the background of a dense metal arrangement, and that obviously calls for a different mic position or different processing, like in this example. So before I introduce you to all the different microphone positions, let me just tell you this. What you are about to watch is just one chapter of a more than 2-hour-long acoustic guitar recording and mixing course that I just released. Link below. $29. And that includes so much more. I talk about different recording techniques as well, different microphones, room microphones, stereo recording techniques, about the player, the instrument, the strings, and a lot of other stuff. You can follow me on an entire sound check where I try all those different techniques. You can even download the multi-tracks of a beautiful sounding singer-songwriter song and play around with them, mix the song, and I'm pretty sure you will learn a lot. So if you want to dive deeper into recording acoustic guitars, you can, link below. I'll be back later in this video to remind you, but now it's time to start miking. Enjoy. Now let's talk about microphone positions, and I want to start with a simple mono microphone. What I want to do is this. I want to split the acoustic guitar into 3 different frequency zones. I know that kind of simplifies this highly complex instrument a little bit, but this will help you not only to find good sounding microphone positions, but also to adjust and to fine-tune existing positions. It really helps if you know where an acoustic guitar sounds how. It really helps if you know what's going to happen if you move a microphone into a certain direction. Let's talk about the 3 different zones. We've got the high frequencies up here around the neck. We've got lower frequencies around here around the sound hole, and we've got mid-range over here around the whole top of the guitar. So the more you move the microphone from here to there, the darker and fuller things will sound. Around the neck with the strings, we have the most high end, we've got the most transient, it's like the most direct sound. If we go over here around the sound hole, this is where we have the most bass, the most low end. And then finally over here, things get a little more percussive, also fuller and darker, but more in a mid-rangey way. This is also because this is where we hit the strings, so we'll get quite a lot of attack, but not the airy attack we have over here, a more mid-rangey, twangy attack, and a fuller sound than over here. So what you should remember, it goes from bright to dark with boomy in the middle, mid-rangey over here, airy over here. And then we've got a lot of possibilities in between. Let's start with the most common microphone position that most people use. Most people go for a condenser microphone. Right now we got an Austrian Audio OC818 right here in cardioid mode, about maybe 20-30 centimeters from the instrument, and it's facing the part of the guitar where the body meets the neck. Why is that? Well, I've just explained it. You will get a very kind of airy and fresh sounding, very direct sounding, very intimate sounding guitar tone. But because we're also like facing the body of the guitar, it's probably not gonna sound too thin. So that's usually a good compromise. And this mic position typically sounds very natural to us. Not actually because it is natural, but more because we are used to that kind of sound. Talking about natural, if you talk to somebody like from classical music, you know, if they hear something like this, they would never call this natural. For them, natural would be to have stereo microphones maybe 1 or 2 meters in front of the guitar. By the way, something that I'm showing later in this course as well. So that's going to be a natural sound. That's going to sound like a guitar in a room in stereo, a little distant. But this has nothing to do with the typical acoustic guitar tone that we find in modern pop music, rock music, metal music, where we want something very airy and very intimate sounding. So let's start with this position. It sounds like this. That's usually a good starting point. Now, there can be certain problems here as well. Let's talk about that. The first problem is this: because we are very close to the strings, very close to the left hand and close to the fretboard, we will catch a lot of noises. Stuff like if you move your hand. And we've all heard those acoustic guitar recordings that sound nice and bright and airy, and then suddenly someone goes like up here and you know, it almost kills you with a big reverb on there. So this can get problematic. The closer you get to the guitar, the more of those fret noises you will pick up, and that can sometimes be annoying. The solution for that would be to move the microphone further away from the guitar. The other problem that I've already mentioned is that if you have a bright sounding condenser microphone and you put it into, let's call it the brightest position possible, this can simply be too much, and this can sound a little thin and a little plastic. So the high end can just sound a little artificial. This might just be a little too much. Now, what can we do about this? Well, there are two things. First of all, you could move the microphone closer, which means it will pick up more low end because it's closer to the source. That's one thing. So I hope this translates with this microphone in front of me, that if we have it here, it will probably sound thicker than when I'm here. The other option we have is simply, you remember, bright and dark, to move the microphone more towards the body. Let me show you the difference. So now it's facing the 12th fret where body and neck meet. If I go here, it will sound a lot fuller. So you can play with that microphone and just move it from here to here, basically, to fine-tune the amount of higher frequencies and also the fullness you get. So if you go from here to here, you can probably hear how this affects the higher frequencies. So this is usually, for me, that's like the most common way to adjust this microphone position. Either you get a little closer or a little further away to fine-tune the low end. This is very important if you have a ribbon microphone, by the way. You will see that later in this course as well. So a ribbon microphone with a figure of 8 pattern is very sensitive to this kind of movement. And it usually needs to be a little further away in order not to sound boomy. And then you can move the microphone from just facing the neck to facing more of the body to kind of darken it and to make it sound a little fuller. This is usually very effective, and a few centimeters go a long way. You should also tell the guitarist not to go like this while he's playing, because you can probably hear it. This is really going to affect especially the higher frequencies. Now, moving on with the next and most unusable microphone position, that would be something like this, straight in front of the sound hole, and you will immediately hear that it sounds too boomy. There's a lot of energy there, but there's just way too much boomy low end, so this is never gonna work. It doesn't sound natural. It just, screams for an EQ, and I've never seen anybody putting a microphone here. But it's just important to understand that this is where the low end comes from. So in case you want to increase the low end, you should, from either side of the guitar, get closer to the sound hole. That's going to have a massive effect on the fullness of the guitar. Whenever you feel like, I want more down there, move closer to the sound hole. Moving on to the other side of the guitar, to the picking side of the guitar. This can sound great as well. It's just going to sound very different from having the microphone here. It's going to sound quite a bit darker and more mid-rangey. Now, it really depends on the guitar how that's going to sound. For example, in the song, the singer-songwriter song in this chorus with a Taylor guitar, when I moved one of the mics here, it sounded really twangy. So there was a lot of, let's say, 1K information. With my Gibson guitar, it kind of gets full and maybe a little honky over there. Let's just check that out. So if we go from here, listen to the higher frequencies. Over here. A lot of the higher frequencies should be gone and it should sound quite a bit fuller. Usually, you remember, the closer you get, the fuller it gets as well. Because of that, it usually makes sense to have the microphone a little bit further away compared to having it over here. Let's have a listen. You hear less high frequencies, but a lot of fullness. Now, this might not sound as spectacular as first compared to this position, but you remember what I told you about using ribbon microphones. This position actually EQ'd, like opened up a little bit with a good sounding EQ, can sound very nice and actually a little more natural and a little more full-bodied compared to this position. And one of the big advantages of being over here is that you don't pick up all the fret noises coming from the left hand. So let's just have a quick listen to an audio example where we can compare the unprocessed microphones, one in this position over here, the airy position, and the other one in the fuller, more mid-rangey position. And right now, this one here might sound more mix ready just because it has more higher frequencies. But once we EQ the microphone over here a little bit, it actually sounds quite nice. Have a listen. There's just a lot more lower mid information that makes the guitar sound a little more natural to my ears. And over here we have a very transient based kind of thin and brittle feel in comparison. It's both very much usable, and now once again it depends what you're gonna do. So if you really just want to have the high end and you want the guitar to sound like a shaker in the mix, this position will probably be better. But if you want something more muscular and full sounding, this position might actually be better, even if it needs a little more treatment. The closer you also go to the right hand where the picking happens, you get a nice percussive feel from this position. So what I'm saying is don't get fooled by the beauty of the high frequencies. Too much high frequencies and it can sound thin and brittle. It might sound attractive at first. And I have to say, like, over the years, I used to be looking for like the brightest possible way to record acoustic guitars. And very often, especially when the acoustic guitars played an important role, I ended up with something that sounded a little thin and artificial because I was too close to the strings and did not pick up enough of the body. So here are my typical go-to positions. Either the one we started with over here, let's just do it again. Something like this. And then you fine-tune the high frequencies and also the fullness by moving the microphone further to the body. Or you go for a completely different approach and have it on the other side. Just avoid anything here in the middle because it's gonna sound too boomy, and go for something more mid-rangey. You should have more of a distance, and typically you should be facing the bridge of the guitar. This is gonna give you some of the attack in a different way. It's gonna sound darker. Have more lower mids. You might need a little more EQ, but then you will end up with a fuller, maybe also more natural sound, and get less distraction from fret noises over here. And once you've found your favorite mic position, it might be time to start adding multiple microphones, room microphones, or stereo setups. So now we're gonna go from mono to stereo. Let's do that now. I hope you enjoyed that little snippet from our acoustic mixing ritual, my course about recording and mixing acoustic guitars, where I show you so much more, like stereo miking techniques, room microphones. I talk about different types of microphones. There are a lot of examples. I also show you how to integrate like an acoustic guitar track into a dense metal mix or a rock mix, and you'll see me doing a lot of cool stuff there. It includes the multi-tracks of a song. It's $29. It's pretty badass. You can also join my academy, Kohle Audio Cult. If you join the academy, you will get all our courses. The Nolly drum course, the Ermin mastering course. You can mix a Motorhead song. You can download many different multi-tracks and mixing courses from different metal genres. You become a part of a great community. You get free plugins, blah, blah, blah. That's actually much smarter. Anyway, you've got both options. Just follow the link below and elevate your acoustic guitar tones to the next level, okay? Because acoustic guitars are fun. We all have our soft and beautiful side, even we brutal metal people. Don't you think? All right, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and to ring the ding-dong diggly-ding-dong bell. I hope you enjoyed this. Just let me know. Leave a comment. I love you all. See you in hell, motherfuckers. Now I forgot what I wanted to do with my hands. See you in hell, motherfuckers. Bye-bye.
Stays with me everywhere. When demons fill me up inside in my darkest nights, I close my eyes and see your light. And see your light.